Welcome back to the second part of our exploration into the world of Google Sheets. In this installment, we'll dive deeper into the functionality of Google Sheets, unlocking even more potential for you. Until now, you've primarily relied on basic formulas, but another tool at your disposal is a function. Functions allow you to input various arguments and receive a corresponding result. On the toolbar's right side, you'll find an icon for functions, which, when clicked, reveals a plethora of function options. The top section displays common functions such as sum, average, count, max, and min, while various categories are presented on the right. Hovering over the All category reveals an extensive list of functions available in Google Sheets. For detailed descriptions of these functions, you can explore the Learn More section at the bottom of the list. Shifting your focus to the left side of the table, let's say you want to calculate the total sales by summing up all the values. Place the active cell at the bottom of the sales list, and you can utilize the function icon in the top right corner. Selecting the sum function from the list prompts helper text with instructions on usage. For instance, the sum function requires an open and close parenthesis, with values to be summed up in between. Following the example, input the range of values, C2 to C13, and observe the sum, 78,000. By typing the function directly into the cell preceded by an equal sign, you achieve the same result without using the function icon. Here, you can input equals and then type the function name, sum. Google Sheets intelligently detects that, in this context, you likely want to sum up the values above. A helpful suggestion appears, offering to sum up those values, and clicking on it achieves the same result. This provides an alternative method to manually typing in a function. Now that you have the total sales, it's essential to add some text for clarification. In cell B14, you input total sales and press enter. Then, right-align the cell using the top toolbar and make it bold. Additionally, make the adjacent cells bold, either by selecting them and using the toolbar or by pressing Ctrl+B. The presentation looks polished now, showcasing strong sales for the year. Next, you want to introduce an additional column indicating the percentage each month contributes to the total sales. Add a column called % of total sales, and upon hitting enter, the formatting is automatically applied. The formula for the % of total sales is the month divided by the total sales. Type the equal sign, select 1000, and the formula recognizes the total sales as C14. To format the result as a percentage, select the cell and use the Format as % option in the toolbar. To apply this formula to other months efficiently, click on the blue square in the bottom right-hand corner of the cell and drag it down. However, an issue arises with a divide by zero error. Upon investigation, you discover that dragging the formula down adjusts the reference to the next row for both the month and total sales. To address this, go back to the initial row and notice a suggestion on the right-hand side. It recommends adding a $sign in front of both the column and row references to lock the formula to a specific cell. Accepting this suggestion resolves the issue, and now the formula behaves as expected. Pressing the F4 key also reveals the $signs in the formula toolbar. In this context, only the row has a $sign, indicating that the row is locked while the column can change. Pressing F4 again places a $sign in front of the column but not the row. Subsequent presses remove all $signs, and with another press, both the column and row are locked. While $signs effectively lock a reference in a cell, a simpler alternative is to assign a name to that cell. Navigating to cell C14, where the total sales are, in the top left-hand corner is the name box currently labeled C14. Clicking into this box, you can give it a name, such as total sales, and hit enter. Returning to the earlier formula, instead of referencing C14, delete this and type in total sales, achieving the same result without concerns about absolute or relative references. Naming cells you frequently use simplifies formulas. To view all named cells, go to the top menus, click on Data, and choose Named Ranges. This opens a pane on the right-hand side displaying all named ranges, including total sales. Clicking on the Edit icon allows for changes to the name or reference. Leaving the reference unchanged, close the pane. Moving on to a more complex function than those discussed so far, let's explore VLOOKUP or vertical lookup. This function is commonly used to look up a value in a table and return a corresponding value. For instance, if you want to find out how many sales were generated in June 2023, VLOOKUP can assist in obtaining that information. Here, you can examine this table, and upon scrolling down, you find the entry for June 2023, indicating sales of 4,000. However, you prefer a function to automate this process instead of manually searching through the table. In cell F7, designated as the active cell, commence entering the function. Input the equal sign and then type the name VLOOKUP. Once entered, the function appears, and you can select it. Subsequently, the function prompts you for information, starting with the search key, which is the value you want to locate. If ever uncertain about the function's parameters, clicking the drop-down arrow provides detailed explanations. Specify June 2022 as the search key, add a comma, and then identify the range, choosing the relevant area. The search key must be in the first column of this range. Another comma is added, and now input the index, opting for the second column. Closing the parentheses completes the function, and upon pressing enter, the result shows that in June 2022, sales amounted to 5,000. You might wonder about the utility of this when you can simply glance at the table. The advantage lies in the flexibility to modify the value being searched. For instance, changing it to December 2022 automatically adjusts the VLOOKUP function, providing the sales figure of 12,000. This function, VLOOKUP, stands out as one of the most potent tools in Google Sheets, offering considerable power as you construct this sheet. Here, you've organized all the sales data, and you're contemplating relocating these business questions to a separate sheet for better organization. To achieve this, select and cut the questions by pressing Ctrl+X. Then, create a new sheet by clicking on the plus icon below. Using Ctrl+V, paste the questions onto the new sheet. Notably, all the formulas and functions you entered continue to function as expected. Upon inspecting cell A1 on the new sheet, you'll notice the reference now points to the previous sheet. This illustrates that referencing values from different sheets within the spreadsheet is feasible. The default sheet names are Sheet 1 and Sheet 2, which may not be very clear. Remedy this by double-clicking on the sheet names and renaming them, calling one Business Questions and the other Sales Data. Even after renaming, the formulas on the Business Questions sheet still function correctly, automatically updating the references. At the bottom, you can rearrange the sheet order, perhaps placing Business Questions first by dragging it to a new position. Additionally, you can utilize options like deleting a sheet, duplicating it, and even changing colors. Opting for a distinctive blue color enhances visibility. Additionally, there are several other choices available. To view all sheets, one can glance across the bottom. Alternatively, clicking the All Sheets icon provides a quick overview of the different sheets within the spreadsheet. Moving forward, I'll illustrate how to sort and filter data. Let's navigate back to the Sales Data worksheet. Within the table, I aim to sort the data to identify the highest and lowest sales months. While the columns drop-down arrow offers sorting options, I wish to avoid affecting total sales. Therefore, I'll highlight the table, excluding total sales, and create a filter from the top toolbar. This adds a new icon to the table headers. Clicking on it provides sorting and filtering options. Opting to sort from largest to smallest reveals December as the highest sales month and January as the lowest. If I wish to sort based on months, I can restore the original order. The same icon facilitates filtering, for instance, displaying only the first 3 months of the year. Clearing previous filters and selecting the initial 3 months achieves this. To streamline future access to this filter, saving the filter view is recommended. Returning to the top toolbar, go back to the filter icon, click the drop-down arrow, and choose Save as Filter View. A dialog box appears, allowing you to name the filter view for easy reference. This approach streamlines the process, especially when dealing with more complex filters involving multiple columns. You'll name this filter view first 3 months and then press Enter. Your filter view is now saved. Clicking on the X icon will exit the filter view, returning you to the original data. Suppose your manager asks about the sales in the first 3 months. In the Data menu, under Filter Views, you can select First 3 months to quickly access that specific view. Alternatively, clicking the drop-down arrow and selecting First 3 months achieves the same result. To exit the filtered view, click on the X icon in the top right-hand corner. Currently, all the data is presented in a tabular format. However, you find it more intuitive to comprehend data visually, such as in a chart. You want to chart the sales by date over the entire year to gain insights. By highlighting the relevant values, you can insert a chart either from the Insert menu or the toolbar on the right-hand side. Clicking on the Insert a Chart option adds a chart, and on the right-hand side, a chart editor pane allows for customization. You can move the chart around the worksheet, resize it by clicking on the corners, and access various chart settings. The chart type can be modified. For instance, you can switch from a column chart to a line chart. The chart editor provides additional settings, and in the top right-hand corner, customization options allow you to tailor the chart's appearance. The flexibility extends to choosing different chart types and adjusting various visual elements. You'll access the chart style and switch it to a 3D column chart, which looks visually appealing. Moving on, click into the Chart and Axis Title section to provide a more descriptive name, opting for Cookie Sales by Month. This automatically updates the chart title. You can further format the title, such as centering it for a better appearance. After that, explore the Series category, where you find an option to add a trend line. Enabling the trend line reveals a visual representation of the sales trend throughout the year, indicating an increasing trend as the months progress. A noteworthy feature of this chart is its dynamic synchronization with the underlying data. For instance, you can navigate to the table and update January sales to 2,000 cookies. Upon hitting Enter, the chart promptly reflects this adjustment, ensuring consistency between the two. This seamless synchronization emphasizes the real-time connection between the chart and the data. In the upcoming section, let's explore efficient methods for analyzing and gaining insights from the data without the need for manual entry of formulas or functions. Shift the chart to the right-hand side, focusing on the table data. You want to incorporate all the data in the pivot table, excluding the % of total sales and the total sales at the bottom. Choose the Insert menu at the top, selecting the option to insert a pivot table. In the ensuing prompt, opt to set up a new sheet, ensuring it's selected before clicking on Create. This action lands you in a new pivot table, represented by a worksheet named Pivot Table 1. The Pivot Table editor on the right assists in organizing the pivot table. The fields on the far right, Country, Date, and Sales, are recognized as columns from the sales data sheet. Now, let's explore how you can swiftly extract insights using pivot tables. Suppose you want to determine the total sales of the cookie company. Within the Sales field category, drag it over to Values, releasing it to calculate the sum of all sales. This reveals a total sales figure of 79,000. Alternatively, you can choose other calculations by clicking the drop-down, such as Average. For instance, the average monthly sales appear to be around 6,583 cookies. The drop-down also offers options like Max, Min, and Median for diverse analytical perspectives. On the right-hand side, there are additional fields that you can incorporate into the pivot table. Switch back to the sum, and let's include the date in the rows. Releasing it there, you can observe the sales organized by month, similar to the view on the sales data sheet. However, suppose you want to see each month as columns instead. Drag the date into columns, offering the same data but presented differently. This effortless rearrangement is achieved through simple mouse dragging. You can move the date back to rows, restoring the original view. Unlike the previous need for formulas and proper referencing to calculate the percent of total sales, this process is remarkably straightforward. You can take sales and drag it back into values, duplicating its appearance in the pivot table. Here, you can choose how to display it. Presently, it's set to a number, but you can switch it to % of column, revealing the contribution percentage for each month. No formula or function entry is required, a selection from the drop-down suffices. Pivot tables significantly simplify the analytical process. Filtering this data is just as convenient. Taking the date and dragging it to filters, you can choose what to include in the pivot table. For instance, selecting January, February, and March and clicking OK filters the table accordingly. Thus, you've managed to recreate most of the views from the previous sheet through intuitive mouse dragging. While your analysis thus far has been based on the sales data, you might want to gather information from third parties or your customers. Navigate to the Tools menu, where there's an option to create a new form. Clicking on it directs you to Google Forms, and the advantage here is that any responses received in this form will automatically populate your spreadsheet. For the form title, name it Favorite Cookie, and the first question will be, "What's your favorite cookie?" set as a short answer text. Above, you can share the survey via email, a shared link, or embed it on a website. To preview the survey's appearance and observe the data flow into your spreadsheet, click on Preview and fill out the form, submitting your response. Upon returning to the spreadsheet, a new worksheet, Form Responses 1, displays the survey response, including a timestamp and the favorite cookie choice, in this case, chocolate chip. Google Forms is a valuable tool for gathering feedback and seamlessly incorporating it into your spreadsheet for analysis. After conducting thorough analysis, the next step is to share it with the broader cookie company. Click on the Share button in the top right-hand corner opens the sharing dialog. At the top, specific individuals can be entered for sharing, and permissions, view, comment, or edit, can be set. In this instance, enter the name, notify them, add a message, set them as an editor, and then click Send. Let's revisit the sharing dialog to explore additional options. You will select the Share option, and now you can observe that you've granted access to this workbook for your colleague, with them currently designated as an editor. Below, there's an option for general access, currently limited to the two of you. By clicking on the drop-down menu, you can extend access to anyone with the link and set permissions as a viewer, commenter, or editor. Leave it as a viewer and can copy the link. Clicking on Done finalizes the sharing process. Now that the spreadsheet is shared, in the top right-hand corner, you can see all the individuals currently present in this sheet. The person is recognizable by the purple around their picture. When looking at the spreadsheet, areas with purple indicate where they are located. Hovering over a cell reveals the associated name, indicating their current position. The option to chat with them is available by clicking on the chat icon in the top right-hand corner. Initiating a chat allows you to communicate with them in real time. Additionally, comments can be left directly in the worksheet. For instance, under the question, "What's your favorite cookie?" you can insert a comment by going to the Insert menu or using the shortcut Ctrl+Alt+M. After typing a comment, in the upper right corner, click on this icon, revealing the entire comment history. Here, you find the same comment thread, and they have responded to the question, expressing satisfaction that you share a preference for the same cookie. Clicking on the check mark allows you to mark the conversation as completed, hiding it from view. This streamlined collaboration is particularly advantageous when working with multiple individuals. Concerned about changes made by others? You can track edits by checking the timestamp at the top. Clicking on it opens the version history, where you can revert to any prior iteration of the spreadsheet. It's even possible to name specific versions by clicking the 3 dots and assigning a name. Although you're content with the current state, this feature offers a handy way to navigate through the spreadsheet's history. In the top left corner, click on the back icon. There are alternative methods for sharing your file. Navigating to the File menu, you can access the Share option and choose to publish to the web, email the file, or download a copy, such as a Microsoft Excel file. Alternatively, you can go the more traditional route by printing out a copy, accessible through Ctrl+P. The Print menu provides various options for customizing the appearance of your printout. That concludes your basic guide to using Google Sheets. Explore the free learning resources in the description below to delve deeper into Google Sheets functionalities. For more informative videos like this one, consider subscribing, and you look forward to seeing you in the next video.